Hey friends, welcome back to Sherry's Simple Living. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're making a really great chicken Divan, and this is a low carb version. So feel free to change it up if you don't want it to be a low carb version. But this came out so delicious, friends. Follow along. We're going to start by chopping an onion and sauteing it in this frying pan in some olive oil. Okay, friends, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go over what you need for this recipe real quick. We're going to need some chicken boneless, skinless thighs or breasts. I'm using thighs because we're going to saute them in these onions, and it's going to cook in that and the oven, so we don't want it to get dry. Thighs don't dry out as much as breasts do. We're going to need 4 ounces, which is half of a square of cream cheese, which I'm getting out here and putting it in my big 8-cup measuring bowl. And that's what I'm going to make the sauce in. I end up just setting it out to get it softer. I'm adding some herbes de Provence in with the onions. Does anyone else fight with opening these things? They're such a pain. Okay, along with the cream cheese and chicken, you're obviously going to need 1 onion, and we're going to need a heaping 1/2 cup of sour cream and a heaping 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. We're also, it calls for Dijon mustard. I didn't have any, so I'm using spicy brown mustard. We're also going to need garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, paprika, all the seasonings, which I'm adding to this cream cheese here. And then I set it aside to get softer. It was still a little bit cold, even though I had it out. And before I mix the sauce, I actually microwaved it for about 30 seconds to get it really soft and creamy so that it mixed in with the mayonnaise and sour cream easier. But we'll get to the sauce later. We're also going to need some cheese, and I use slices of Colby Jack. We're also going to need some pork rinds crushed up for the top to make that crunchy layer. Oh, and broccoli. I almost forgot. We're going to need, I think I used 3 different heads of broccoli because I have a pretty big casserole dish. All right, and that's everything we're going to need. Friends, I'm cutting off any fat or yucky parts I don't like on the chicken thighs. I really don't like chicken fat. I think I'm weird. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't. So I always chop it up real small and throw it in a saucepan with water and make chicken broth, and I give it to the dogs. I put it on their food. So that's why I'm cutting it up small, if you see. I believe I used 5 chicken thighs. Season them real good with all the seasonings I mentioned and salt and pepper. And I just put them right on top of the onions. And then as I flip them and move them around, I kind of nestle them in to where they're getting a little more brown and the onions are sliding aside. Because we want them to just get browned. They don't necessarily have to be cooked fully. I did because I was doing other stuff, but like I said, they're going to go in the oven too, so you don't have to cook it fully. You could just brown them. Okay, friends, now that our chicken is cooking, let's whip up the sauce real quick. And like I said, I microwaved the cream cheese for about 30 seconds just to make sure that it was nice and soft. We're going to put a heaping half a cup of mayonnaise, a heaping half a cup of sour cream. I think I put about 2 tablespoons of the spicy brown mustard. A half of a lemon, and I forgot to add that into the description of what we would need. I'm so sorry, but a half of a lemon squeezed into the sauce. And this sauce, friends, was so good. I did not think it would be that good. Okay, friends, now I'm just gonna add some pork rinds to a bag, and I use my potato masher to mash them up. If you're not doing low carb, you could just crush up crackers or use breadcrumbs or panko crumbs. All of those would be delicious, but to keep it low carb, we're going to use pork rinds. And I really don't like pork rinds, but they're really good as a crunchy topping. So the quicker, easier way would be to throw these in the food processor. But mine is over on the other side of my kitchen on top of this buffet, and it's not plugged in over there, so I have to move it to my counter, just like when I use my KitchenAid mixer. And I just didn't even want to bother, so I used this potato masher and bag. But in the future, I think I will grind up like the whole bag and keep them in a mason jar, sealed, so that they're fresh, but for all the casseroles that I make, because I do make a lot of casseroles. Okay, friends, now we're going to just layer the broccoli in the bottom of your casserole dish. If you want to blanch it, you can. I didn't blanch it or use frozen broccoli, I just used fresh, and it didn't come out watery or anything like that. The sauce was still thick and it was perfect. So I don't think you have to blanch it, but if you want to, go ahead. I'm cutting these stems in pieces small for the chickens. I don't know why. I like to cut stuff up for them. They're bougie. I wanted to add that my casserole dish is not a 9 by 13. It's actually bigger. So this sucker is huge. I want to say it's like an 11 by 15. I'm not sure, but it's bigger than a 9 by 13. So that's why I use so much broccoli and 5 thighs, chicken thighs. So if you want to do a 9 by 13, maybe just do 2 broccoli heads instead of 3. I'm not sure, but that's why I use 3 heads of broccoli and 5 chicken thighs. But it turned out perfect. I had left my 9 by 13 pan at my sister's, and I didn't want to make a smaller one, so this is the one we got. Seeing how my lasagna pan got broken, I had a really nice Pampered Chef lasagna pan, a big deep dish one, and I had it for like 10 years, and my husband broke it. All right, now we just add the chicken and, well, I added the onions that were left in the pan, but the chicken, the onions, then we throw the sauce on, and I put slices of Colby Jack cheese on top, and then the crushed pork rinds. And you'll see that the bag of crushed pork rinds that I made was definitely not enough for this big pan. So I end up making another bag of them just so it has enough crunchy topping. Okay, friends, while that's in the oven baking, I'm just throwing together like a quick cauli rice, like cheesy cauli rice risotto. I'm just adding butter, sauteing the cauli rice in it, and then I add cheese, half and half, garlic, salt, pepper, parsley, and I think that's about it. Maybe some onion powder, but it comes out really good. It's just an easy way to make your cauli rice taste a little better than just plain cauli rice, because I kind of get sick of it. I forgot to add, I have the oven at 375 and I baked it for about 25 to 30 minutes. It came out perfect. The topping was crunchy and it tastes so good. Friends, the flavor of this chicken dish, the sauce is so good. I highly recommend you make this. Chicken Divan was always a favorite dish of mine, but I always made it with rice and like more of a cheesy sauce. So this sauce was so good. I definitely will make it again and again. Try it, friends. You will not be disappointed. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate you all so much for watching my videos. Let me know how you make your chicken divan and what you would change, or if you liked the idea of this recipe. I definitely thought the sauce was different when I was making it, but it tasted amazing. My husband loved it. We all loved it.